So still in Nollywood and discussing production value. In this current era where mythology shines and ancient kingdoms rise again, Davies is one of the minds building the worlds we see on the screen. A CG generalist and VFX artist, his fingerprints are all over some of the industry's most ambitious epics, including Seven Doors, Lisa B, Jagun Jagun, King of Thieves, and many others. So in this spotlight segment, he takes us inside the making of some of those cinematic moments, breaking down his processes and revealing the technical and creative challenges of building large-scale historical worlds. He also reflects on the rise of AI in visual effects and shares the realities of working as a young artist in a rapidly evolving space with or without receiving recognition in the end.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ sílé olóògì. Ilé olóògì, akíkanjú tó bá lóògùn ní pẹ̀tẹ́ ogun.
I am Davies, a CG generalist and a VFX supervisor. For Jagun Jagun, I was responsible for most of the CG part, things like the exterior of the mansion, that Ogundiji's mansion. I was responsible for that, for creating that in CG, which was completely composited in the film. Then for Lisha B, I was responsible for quite a number of things in Lisha B. One of those were the exterior, the opening of the film. The exterior of that was, some part of the exterior were CGI, and that I was responsible for that, for making that. Also in the film, you would realize that there was a part where we had a creature, a monster, that showed up in the film. Yeah, that I was responsible for that too. So we had to create the entire thing from scratch and make sure that it was really, really believable. And yeah, that I was responsible for that. Also in Lisha B, I was responsible for multiplying the soldiers, because definitely on set you really can't have so many soldiers, and the director wanted a situation where we would have so many soldiers on set, and so I had to step in that case, created a lot of CG soldiers, and yeah, that was put in the film.
Ó ṣe jẹ́ Lísàbí nìkan lẹ́ńkì torí kìí ṣe Lísàbí nìkan ló jagun, a kò fi ṣaṣíwájú wa ni.
Méjìdé! Ǹfẹ̀ bínú.
Ká má parọ́, ó ṣinú bí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ gbogbo ẹnu rẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀.
Everything that happens in the film has to be what the director actually wants for his project. So once the director has something in mind for a particular project, it comes to the concept artist, and in many of these projects, I usually double as a concept artist to work on them. So a concept artist comes up with the concept first, rough concept, and then from there you start developing in 3D in your 3D software. So they call those things pipelines, and for film production, you have certain pipelines that you need to follow. So from concept art, you go into 3D, you flesh them out, and those ones usually go through lots of iterations.
Spirits!
What am I going to do with you?
So when it comes to AI and the influence of AI in generally the pipeline, I see AI as a tool, really, because if you're working on anything in production, especially things that have to do with screen, you still need that human touch. That's what gives it the actual life, right? So AI is really just a tool right now, and in the hands of people that can weld it well, it is powerful, very powerful. Personally, I use AI in some works, and in my workflow, it is mostly to get ideas, and just to make sure that things are faster. Because one thing in production is you have to be fast, and apart from being fast, you need to do something fast and at the same time get the best quality that can ever come out of it. I see a lot of people say AI is going to take jobs, it's going to do this. It is going to take jobs, but in the hands of people that see it as something, in the hands of people that see it as a tool, AI is going to make them really big. My interest in Epic is not really an interest. I see it more as majority of the works that I've had to do in the past have been epics, but not that I have this bias towards, I've worked on other films. I worked on Mikolo, which is a family fantasy film. I worked on Coma, which is an historical film too. So epic, I think the epic, we're just in an era where we have more epics, and if you have epics, you want something very cool. And if you're going to do something very cool, you need people that can really do the work and come out really well. So I think that's where I come in. Epic has just been something that gives me that. Majority of the project actually that I've worked on have given me that creative freedom to do a lot of things.
Ṣàkójú kí ni tí mo ṣe dé nìyẹn.
Kábíyèsí bàbá ńlá tiyín bí ogun ní á mú oyè ọba jíjẹ nílùú Ìlara.
Ogún wọn ló tún kù. Lọ́dún wo? Kábíyèsí. Mo ní ogún wọn ló tún kù. Béèrè lọ́wọ́ rẹ ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ibi ò dáwọ́ dúró nílùú Ìlara. Mo ní kí n fòye sílẹ̀ ẹni kò possible.
When it comes to recognition, I think Nollywood is doing fairly good, but not entirely. I think there's still a lot that we need to do when it comes to recognizing people that are actually doing the work. And sometimes you see people that are being recognized and not even the people that are doing the work. There are people that you just want to recognize just for the sake of recognition. And I think when it comes to recognition, it starts with the barest minimum, which is giving credit to creators. If you don't give those credits, then that's where the problem starts from. And if you do not give credit, there is no way external bodies are going to recognize these people. About the resources, Nollywood lacks a lot, especially when it comes to post-production now, we struggle with a lot of resources, a whole lot of them, and I think it shows in the outcome of our productions, films, and all that. But it's not that we're not trying. That lots of effort go into films. I just feel like the idea that we take into post-production is we want something good and something fast, but we don't have the equipment, yet we have the skills. So skill plus lack of equipment and speed don't go together. Bollywood, for instance, Bollywood, they have the skills. They have a lot of really good CG artists. So they have the skill, they have the equipment, they have the time to do all these things. They have the numbers, and that's why they come up with really insane stuff to dish out to people. I think if we take time to do our productions while we have the skill and we don't have adequate equipment, I think it's going to go a long way. Thank you for having me on Entertainment News on Channels Television.